Okay, so I just wanted to document that I'm going to record me painting Fibrex. These are two samples that are in my bag I've had for a long time, and I just wanted to have something to show people. So I'm going to go through the steps, paint it myself, and let you see them.
Okay, I'm using a 400 grit sandpaper. It's fine and it will rough up the surface just enough that so that the paint will adhere to it. You don't have to rub hard, just kind of go over it lightly. And then take a tack cloth. It just comes in a little bag like that at Home Depot or Lowe's, and it will pick up any of the sand or any of the particles from the surface. So it won't. There we go. I'm using just regular rubbing alcohol that you can buy anywhere at This is from Publix. It's isopropyl alcohol, and it will help just clean the surface a little bit more so that the paint will adhere. And just rub it on there, give it a good wipe down, and let it dry before you put the primer on, of course. And I'll do this surface too. So once that's dry, you're ready to put the primer on. I'm just using a regular, this is Zinsser cover stain primer. It's an oil-based interior because we're going to be painting the interior. This one is actually interior exterior, so you could do both. But it's a bond. It helps the paint bond to the surface, and but you can use any primer as long as it's an oil-based primer. Okay, we're getting ready to put on our primer. So I would open the can and give it a good stir. I've already done that step, so you don't have to watch that. But I do want to give you a tip. I've painted a lot in my life, and I learned that if you, when you open your can for the first time, if you take a nail and hammer some holes along the inside of the can, when you pour your paint into your tray, your paint will seep down back down into the can. So when you put your lid on, your lid's not going to stick to the can. Also, you want to use good quality products, like a good quality paintbrush. You can use rollers. I like the velour if you don't like to see brush marks. Of course, with oil-based paint, it will flatten out on its own, so you won't get a lot of brush marks with oil-based paint. But if you like the roller, you can use a roller. For this, because we're just doing a small area, I'm just going to dip my paint on my paintbrush. I'm not going to bother with the tray since I'm just using a little bit of primer here. You just want to go in one direction. Now these paintbrush marks, they will flatten out, and if you're a perfectionist like me and you don't want any brush marks, the wet to dry sandpaper, if you wet it a little bit, like the 400 that I showed you in the other video, or a 600 grit, wet it and go over it real lightly, and it will take out all your brush marks. So there's more than one way to skin a cat. Okay, there's that one. You might want to wear gloves too, so you don't have to clean your hands. With an oil-based paint, you have to clean your brushes with paint thinner or mineral spirits, which is the same thing as paint thinner. I usually just get me a mason jar, put my paint thinner in there, and let the brush sit in the paint thinner, and then clean it with paper towels or cloths. So we're going to follow the directions on our primer as far as the drying time. And then after it dries completely, we'll be ready to put on our first coat of paint. Okay, this is oil-based paint. This is from Sherwin-Williams. And we got a blue color so that you could see it when we painted on there. Doug forgot to get a paint stick, so I have to use this plastic spoon. Anyway, it's already been primed with the oil-based primer, as we showed already on the other video. This is it. I think some was on the brush. The edge there. All right, so that one's ready to kind of, I think, let it dry. It might need another coat. So we'll let that dry out of the way. It's my phone, sorry about that. And I'm just gonna paint the top. I guess I'll get the side there. And if you need to tape off, I've learned that frog tape is the best and it won't bleed through. So if you need to tape your window off, I would use frog tape. Okay, so now we're gonna just let that dry and we'll show you what it looks like after it's dried.